my name is Sarah, this is I Talk to Notebooks, and today we are continuing the spreadsheet classes of how to use Google Sheets spreadsheets to create your own journaling spreadsheets that are going to help you understand various insights about your journals and just ways that you can use spreadsheets to help you with your journaling. So last week we talked about how to use Google Sheets, how to get access to it. I also explained to you guys that I'm providing a template that you can just use. If you're not interested in making your own, you can just get it for yourself and just use it right out the gate, no hassle. So all the tutorial as to how to get started with Google Drive and how to download the template and use it if you want to yourself are in the previous video. So you're going to want to go back and watch that one. I'm going to put the iCards usually show up over here somewhere, so that's where you're going to, up there somewhere, you're going to want to click on that. So, but if you want to learn how to make this sheet, keep watching because this sheet is actually for your current journal. So you'll see down here, we got our two worksheets here, and I'll show you how to add one. So let's do that actually. You just click the plus sign, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it my journal, or I'll name it current journal. And there you go. I like to use one word, no spaces, because you can actually reference other worksheets in your formulas if you want to, and it helps keep things a little bit more clean without the spaces. Maybe that's the programmer in me. So for this worksheet, we're going to have the date that you write an entry, how many pages you write, and then we're going to let Excel calculate the percentage of the way through the journal that you are, your average pages per day so far for this journal, and when you're projected to finish the journal by. So as you can see, when I started my current journal 23 on the 7th of August, so the date I started, I wrote 5 pages. That was 2.08% of the journal. And the average pages per day, since it was just the first day, was of course 5. And according to Excel, I was projected to finish that journal on the 23rd of September. But you can see I was writing a lot at the beginning, and I've tailed off a little bit lately, although I've still been pretty consistent. I only have one 0 day, that was the 15th. And it's gotten lower. My average has dropped down to 4.76, and I'm projected to finish on the 25th, which is actually 2 days later than originally projected. Then over here we have the total pages I've filled so far, 122, and we have a little progress bar here that actually is about halfway through. You can see it's halfway filled because I'm 50.83% of the way through the journal as of yesterday. I haven't put in my pages for today. Speaking of today, you can see that since today is the 2nd of September, that's the day I'm filming, it's highlighted in this nice light yellow color. Tomorrow, if I come back, it'll be highlighted here. And if I want to show you how this progress bar works, let's say I wrote 10 pages today. This number jumps up to 132, and you saw the progress bar move forward. But I'm going to delete that because I didn't write 10 pages, and the progress bar goes down. So I'm going to show you guys how to make all of this, so you better buckle in because there's a lot of steps to this process, but it is very worth it because I love this sheet. The other one is fun and interesting, but this is the one that I really, really like, and I think you guys are going to like it too. So let's get started. Moving over to my example worksheet, we've already created our new sheet here called Current Journal that we're going to use as an example of how you're going to make your worksheet. So the first thing I like to do is to make the columns. So we have the date, the pages, the percent of the way through you are, and the projected, average pages per day, and the projected finish date. I just call it projection. There's a joke in there somewhere about psychology, but I don't know it. And then over here, we'll just put our total pages filled thing. And some of the stuff, if you don't know what I'm doing, I explained everything really, really thoroughly in the first video, so I would highly recommend watching that one first so that you understand everything, because I do not feel like explaining it again for people who watched the first one and may not want to hear an explanation of how an anchor works. Alright, so let's just bold that, and if you hit Control instead of Shift, you can actually select multiple cells. So I can click A1, Shift to E1. If I click Shift to G1, then it's all filled. But if I do that again and then click Control before I hit G1, it doesn't select F1. So Control B, all is bolded. I'm going to make this a nice light gray color here, and I'm going to put my little border underneath. I'm going to use a thin one this time and just underneath there. And then, you know me, I like to make sure everything's the right size, and I like to put right borders in here. But I don't want it to go all the way down because it's ugly, so I'm going to fill in the dates first. I like to go 1 month at a time. So let's just do the month of September, 9/1/2021. Alright, now let's drag that down. Oh, and it's automatically auto-populating. It does that for dates. So there's 30 days has September, and that's all I know about that. So we're going to click on, actually for this one I think I did not put any dividers, so that's highly disturbing. We're going to do it for this one. So you guys know the drill. Here we go. Go Y. Go Y. Oops, no, that's not going to work. Go Y. Oops. I've really done it this time. Can't just mess around with Excel's heart like that. It's going to make you pay. Alright. And that's looking nice. Alright. So let's put in some example pages to make this example make sense. You do have to enter the pages manually. So today I wrote 6, 5, 3, 2, 8, 11, 3, 1, blah, blah, blah. And then 22 just for kicks. 9, not 90. Throw a 0 in there for good measure. There's a lot more zeros in real life, to be honest. Alright, so here's some information you need to know. You need to know how many pages your journal has. I would recommend counting both sides of each page because that's what you're going to be writing on. Unless you just write on one side, and then I would just count one side. So, to calculate the percent, we are going to go and do equals, of course, to get a formula. But we're not going to need a function this time. We're just going to use simple division. So that's going to be B, which is going to be anchored because we're always going to be referring to the B column, B2, because that's where it starts. Actually, that's wrong. I was wrong. We need to do the sum function because we need to sum B2. It's always going to start at B2 to B2. Just sum that over, let's say our journal has, we're going to say it has 100 pages. Let's just say it has 200 because I feel like I put in too many. Alright, so what this is it's going to sum everything from B2 to B2 and then divide that by 200. And, but you see this 2 here, not anchored. So when we drag this down, that 2 is going to become 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to start summing gradually more and more of these. There we go. Now let's just autofill that. And as you can see, this number is getting bigger and bigger and bigger because all of these are getting summed together. This sums from B2 to B3, from B2 to B4. It just keeps summing more and more of them. Now this column is as ugly as could possibly be, so let's select the whole thing by clicking the column header, the C here, and clicking this little percent sign up here, format as percent. Look, it's percentages. Just what you want to see. I know I do. Okay, perfect. So that's looking good. So the things you have to manually enter are the pages per day, and you need to know the number of pages in your journal. Everything else Excel will do for you, including auto-populating the dates and things like that. So for average pages per day, we already used this function in the last video. So we do equals to indicate a formula, and then we hit average. And we're just going to do the average of B2 to B, which means doing the whole column, because we just want to know the average on that. That's it. No, B2 to B2 again, because we want it to populate and grow over time and show each where the average is totally. That doesn't make any sense. I've completely flubbed it. If we do this, we're just going to always get this whole average here, and this is always going to change when we add values here. But I just want to know what the average was on this first day, and then I want to know what the average was once we got to this day for the month. You know what I'm saying? So we actually want this to be calculated the same way. So we see it starts at 6, but the average goes up for a while when we get these higher numbers, and then it goes back down when the numbers get lower. And that's why we want to see where our average was at as time went on. if that makes sense. If we had just done for B, it would have been the same number all the way across. In fact, let me show you what I mean. Do that one, just bring that down there, and there you have it. It's all the exact same number. So there's nothing useful about that or interesting. I prefer this way. There we go. All right, now how do we calculate the projection? This is actually the most complicated formula. Let's think about it. You need to know, first of all, you need to know how many pages you've already filled, because that's how many pages you have left to fill, right? So what is that going to look like? Well, to calculate how many pages we have filled, that's going to equal the sum of B2 to B2. That's actually just the same as this one here. Total number of pages written so far. It's the same thing here. Whoops, that's not it. Why would this be written? B2 to B2. There we go. All right, so that's the same. But we want to find out how many pages we have left to fill. So in our journal, we said it has, where did I write this? What is going on here? Nope, none of that. Okay. Here we have 200. That's what we decided. So 200 minus that sum is actually going to be the number of pages we have left. So on day 1, we wrote 6 pages. 200 minus 6 is 194, and that's the number of pages we have left. And if you drag this down, you're going to see we're going to lose another 5 pages. It should say 189. There you go. Easy as pie. So that's how many pages we have left. But how long is it going to take us to get to those pages, to write all those pages? Well, let's say we stick at our average pages per day. We should just divide this by that average. So take that and divide it by the average pages per day. So D, we want the D to always stay the same, but this is actually going to move because the average is changing over time. So that is actually our projected number of days left to write it. But where is the fun in that? I couldn't tell you because that's a little bit boring. So let's add one more thing. Let's add A2, which is the date. Why does that look like it's saying B2? A2, there, that's the orange one, it's highlighted. That's the date, plus this number of days. Excel can actually add dates together just like this. Now if we hit enter, we see that our projection is to be done by October 3rd. Now we can just, let me just double check I did all of that right. It's exactly right because I am literally a genius. So let's drag all this down to here. And it looks like by the end of September, we were projected to finish in 6 more days. Now, does that make any sense? Let's pull out ye old calculator and see. So by the end of today, actually, let's do something else before we start that. Let's make this column, this cell, make sense. So this is an easy one. We just want to see how many pages we filled so far. We've already seen this many times before, so I don't need to show you again. This is just however many pages we've written. 164 are written so far. So we have 200 minus 164 equals 36. That's the number of pages we have left to fill. Now, as of the 29th, our current average was 5.655, let's say. We'll round to the 3rd place. So we just do that, click equals. That means we have 6.36 days left to write. It's about 7. So we have September, let's just count it. From the 29th, we have the 30th, the 40th, nope, 30th, October 1st, October 2nd, October 3rd, October 4th, October 5th, that's 6 days. So maybe a little bit more than that, but that's a pretty close estimate. So it's a pretty good projection. It could be an extra day because this is not exactly perfect, but it's rounding. And so this is where it got us. Okay, so that's cool. Let's get it to highlight the current day. That would be fun, right? This actually isn't as hard as it might seem like it would be. You just click on format. I would select all of this here so far. I would do format, conditional formatting. you get this window popping up over here and it's highlighting everything green. So I'm applied to range A2, that's this, to E30, which is down here. It's a diagonal application. Sounds good to me. So we want to format the cells, not if they're not empty, but we actually want to do a custom formula. Actually, no, we can do date is. It's like we're going to do custom formula is. And we're going to do if equals A2, because we want it to change, equals today, and look, September 2nd. Now I like to use this nice light yellow, that's my preference, but you can use whatever color you want. You can do a border, it's like you can't do a border, but you can do any kind of, a lot of different types of formatting. Nice, and then tomorrow it'll check again and it'll highlight this one. So I think that's really cool. Well, now that that's set to go, we only have one thing left to do, and that is going to be this little progress bar right here, which I like. Well, let me move that to the left. I like the way that looks better. You can't actually have the progress bar and the text in the same cell, unfortunately. Microsoft Excel can do it, but Google Sheets can't currently. To get this progress bar, we have to use a function called sparkline, which can actually do a lot. It's a rather powerful function. It can plot a lot of different graphics, but we're just going to be making a simple bar chart. So the first thing you have to do is type equals sparkline, which makes a little chart within a single cell, a mini chart within a single cell. Don't sit there. I know this community, okay? A mini chart in a single cell is something you all are going to be attracted to. I don't make the rules. So the first thing we have to decide is what do we want to base this on? And what we want to base it on is the current percentage that we're at. Well, guess what? The percentage is going to keep growing the more you write. So we only really need to find the highest percentage in column C. And there's a function for that. You should remember it from last video that we did. Max. To find the maximum from C to all the way to C, you should find the highest number, which is going to be at the very bottom, because that's how running percentages work, 82%. So it's going to select this automatically. Comma. Now we put in the options. We need some curly braces to write our options in. This is where things get a little confusing, and you'll notice that Google Sheets isn't spoon-feeding us the answers. So you might have to get Googling if you want to remember the parameters for yourself. But luckily, I have my handy-dandy cheat sheet over here. So the first thing we want to do is specify what kind of, so for these kind of option arrays, when you have the curly braces, you have to put a lot of stuff in quotation marks, and I could try to explain why, but it's a convention that makes sense. It's hard to explain unless you program. I don't know, or maybe I'm being too pretentious, but to me it makes sense, and I feel like people who don't have the experience I have might not understand it. So just take my word for it. We're going to do pairs of statements in quotation marks separated by semicolons. We can do this, guys. First thing we need to say, what type of chart? Chart type, okay? One word. That's what we want to set right now. So we put a comma, and then we put bar. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, bar. And now we said, I want to do the chart type parameter, I want to set it to a bar. I want to make a bar chart. That's all you're saying in computer speak. Semicolon. I'm done talking about what type of chart it is. Now I want to talk about what the maximum value, aka the value that equals 100% of this chart is. So we're going to do max. I'm going to set the maximum value, comma, because I need to tell you what I'm going to set it to. And you can actually you don't need quotation marks because it's a number. So you don't need quotation marks for numbers. I don't know. Again, you just need to know what I know, and not everyone knows that. So the maximum we want to do, well, let's see, the maximum percent would be 100, right? It's not, but let's see what happens if we make this mistake. And then we do min, same thing. The minimum would be 0. The lowest you can have is 0% full, right? Okay, this is going to be perfect. Hit enter, and oh my gosh, why is it yellow, and why is it the smallest little bar ever? Well, we'll fix one thing. That was actually a mistake. Because you add a semicolon here, because it just did the default color yellow, but who wants yellow? I want it to be color 1, because you can have multiple colors in a chart. Although in this bar chart, I think you're only going to have one color possibly. And then we're going to put lawn green. That's a color. And look at that little tiny green sliver. Now, quick aside. If you were like, lawn green, did you just make that up? Can I just type sky blue and hope for the best? You may not. Okay, you're gonna need to Google HTML color names and click on this W3 schools look, and you can pick one of these, because the great thing is, well, anyways, I could go on like a 10-minute rant about colors in HTML, but oh, look how pretty these are. I could stare at colors all day. Colors of what? No, just the colors. Like, I literally looking at, oh my gosh, looking at colors. Oh, okay, that's it. This thing is about to be lavender. I can't turn that down. Also, I knew this was lavender. Okay, so why is this so small? Because we're 82% full. Why does it look teeny tiny? Well, the reason is how this Google Sheets thinks about percents. So do you remember when this wasn't a percent? Let's change this back to automatic. Look, it's a decimal. It's a number between 0 and 1, not 0 and 100. But when you convert it to percent, then Excel's like, oh, I get it. You want to see a number between 0 and 100 with a percent sign at the end of it. I feel you, I'll do it. We're good. So, but really, deep down on the inside, this number is a value between 0 and 1. So remember when we set the max to 100 and the min to 0? Well, the max needs to be 1, because that's really the highest these percentages are going to be. And there we go. That is 82% of the way full, and boy is it beautiful. But wouldn't we just sort of like to try Alice Blue? I know I'd like to see Alice Blue. Oh my goodness. Now, if someone comes in the comments and says, you can barely see that, I'm going to go home for them, because I love Alice Blue. Okay, one more thing while we're talking. I'll change this back to lavender. Lavender's even, I mean, if we're going for visual practicality, that's pretty hard to see too. There's one in here called Rebecca Purple, somewhere in here. Rebecca, yeah. This one is named in honor of somebody on the committee whose daughter died. So I always thought that was kind of a sad but interesting trivia piece. It's a little insensitive to then just marvel over how gorgeous this color is. But, oh my goodness, I could just scroll through these all day, you guys. This could be a video in and of itself. But anyway, that's how you do it. That's how you make this chart, and it's made. And congratulations on making it, because now you can make it. But again, if you want to just plug in your own numbers, the link for a version of this, a template that's going to include this, I will include it in the description below. You can copy paste it, do whatever you want, and enter your own numbers. Again, if you have something you want me to do that you don't feel like you know how to do or you feel like doing, or if you have questions for how to do your own thing, whatever it is, let me know. And if you want to talk about any of these colors, any of them, except like the lime, I don't want to hear about it, yuck. But any of the other ones, oh my gosh. For example, if you wanted to strike up a conversation about dark sea green, or if you wanted to ask why there's two copies of dark slate gray right next to each other. Oh, it's because they're spelled British and English. Or you want to have a quick conversation about the difference between bisque and blanched almond, because there's a huge difference, and if you can't see it, you might have something missing, is all I'm saying. Anyways, that's enough of that. Thanks for watching, and guess what? Remember when I said this was going to be a two-part series? I'm pretty sure we're coming back with more of these, because I think there's more we can do with this sheet over here that I would like to show you guys. But anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great, great, great day making all the spreadsheets you can make to help you in your journaling journey. Peace.